Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Monday. I see everyone in the chat is talking about where they are residing. And it's cold, you guys. So I hope everyone is staying safe. I actually where did I read like some like get prepped for like this winter storm, leave your faucet running so I guess the pipes don't freeze over. My OCD could never. The way I check burners and faucets over and over to make sure that they're off, that would send me into a spiral. I am wearing my Glinda sweatshirt because it is a travesty that Wicked was snubbed from the Oscars. And I am wearing my boring Barbie cap because that's what this part of the tell-all reminded me of. Boring. But yeah. So I think the best part, the juiciest part of this installment of the tell-all, and maybe I'm being unfairly critical. I don't know. You guys will have to let me stop stalling and answering the question. What question? Sorry. I am please re-ask the question. I don't know. Oh, let me run the countdown and then we'll get started. All right. All right. All right. Oh, this is pretty much where I'm at too. Yeah, it was very lovely. Actually, it was raining at like 6 o'clock this morning, like heavy rain, which in Florida, the summer is our rainy time. So it was kind of uncharacteristic. And apparently we are getting a cold snap this week, but it's definitely not going to be on the same level as people are talking about with wind chills that's like -10. Sarcastic, sorry, when Robin keeps answering. Oh, I can see the smoke coming out of her. Robin, okay, my high level, let me pull up my notes. My high level thoughts on this episode. I think Robin and Christine both showed up to cash a paycheck, and I'm not mad at them for doing that. It was painfully obvious that their presence was not required this episode. I think the juiciest part, obviously, like we want to hear because the beginnings of this family were not portrayed on TV. We are so interested in knowing more about those early days. And I found it very interesting. And I paid attention the second time I watched this episode. Kody and Robin do not acknowledge or talk about Meri or Janelle previously being Meri's sister-in-law. The only person that talks about it is Meri. So I found that interesting. Janelle very much is still towing they were old family friends. My marriage to like her brother. She does in previous episodes has acknowledged she was married to Meri's brother, but it was like a blip. It wasn't that serious. Like this is the rhetoric she's going with. It wasn't that big of a deal, I think she said. And I don't know. Like, I'm here to tell you, Janelle, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And so we are going to discuss all of that. So give me just a moment. I just want to bring up my notes. So we start off, and I know I have seen a lot of commentary and people discussing. Well, first, last week I had already said that I thought it was kind of ridiculous for David and Christine to take such issue with Kody apologizing for saying he wasn't in love with Christine. I really didn't find a problem with that. I don't even think how he approached it was inappropriate. Honestly, I thought him talking, and I guess the difference is he wasn't sitting in front of Christine and David saying this, but him recounting a story of Christine buying a pantsuit that really got his engines running, I thought that was more inappropriate than him just simply telling Christine that he lied or was angry when he said he didn't love her. And I thought it was an appropriate thing to specify an apology about. Just Kody giving a broad "I'm sorry" would have never been sufficient. So, I'm not gonna play pretend that Christine, at least Christine, would have been like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, thanks for that vague general apology." Um So I've heard that Mel and Corey did talk more about this. I'll have to go watch because yeah, I'm just coming at it from my not affiliated with the AUB or polygamy even tangentially. So that's just my perspective. Um oh, thank you so much for the super sticker. It's really nice of you. And we see with Kody when he starts talking to Meri, he literally tells Meri, "This is about me." um so let me see here. So yeah, David though now David is taking issue with Kody saying the apology tour is about him freeing the women, he's releasing the wives. And I think that this is a more, if we're gonna like take issue with something Kody is saying, this is what completely appropriate to take issue with, because I think David is 100% right. Kody is laying ownership and releasing ownership of these women as if they're not whole ass individual people on their own. And we're going to talk about that more. I really feel that, look, real talk, I don't think Janelle or Meri has any business being a life coach, because I don't think either one of them is healed from over 30 years of being in the AUB. The things even Meri said this episode, I want Meri to know that this wasn't okay, what she was subjected to and what she was expected to just swallow. And I think it's okay to like be a fan of Janelle, because I'm a fan of Janelle. To be a fan of any of these sister wives, or to take issue with Meri in other aspects, to recognize that many of the kids have accused her of not being a great parent to them, and at the very least, all of those things can exist, and we can still validate Meri's experience was traumatic, it was abusive, and I think it's really because Meri has had to live so long downplaying that and saying, I was like, she said multiple times this segment of the tell all, how she was made to feel like she wasn't making it as a human being, like she wasn't a good woman, she wasn't a good wife, She wasn't a good sister wife, all because she was having feelings of jealousy or emotions about infertility and like all these things. And for Meri to be, and I personally think just from watching this, because Meri grew up in the AUB and in polygamy, I really feel like she was getting it from all angles. Not only was it Kody and her church telling her, you're bad for having these feelings, it was also her parents and her mom and her siblings and her friends. Like, did Meri have anyone in her life in those early days to tell her it's extremely fucked up for your brother's ex-wife to want to sleep with your husband? Like, that's not a hot take. So I really, this season 20 tell all, because Meri is opening up, and again, you can take issue with Meri, you can love Janelle, and like, it's not a Janelle versus Meri thing. It's a, what happened to Meri was fucked up, and I want to recognize and validate that. So that's where I'm coming from when I'm like offering commentary on this part of the tell, because it's not to slam Janelle and it's not to disregard any of Meri's previous bad deeds. I will say that if I was perceiving someone doing me wrong in the way that I perceived Janelle did Meri wrong in this situation by like coming into her family, because Meri signed up for polygamy. So she knew Kody was going to be taking another wife. Did she think that the first sister wife she was going to have to accept into the family was going to be her brother's ex-wife? I highly doubt that that's what she foresaw when she married Kody. And so Kody is sitting there telling her, you signed up for polygamy. You can't feel jealous, this, that, and the other. And Meri's like, oh, well, it's kind of about jealousy, but it's also about the fact that she used to be my sister-in-law and all this is really weird. And like, why aren't we just talking about this? So because Meri couldn't actually have the conversation about the things that were actually bothering her, she was bitching about the dishes and how towels were being folded. And I can't really say that I'm a better human than that and that I wouldn't be doing the exact same thing. It's all just very messed up. We're still with David and Christine sitting on the couch. David is talking about how Kody saying he's releasing his ex-wives is a power play. And David actually says, you don't do that to a human being. And I wrote in my notes, you don't do any of this to another human being. Every single person sitting on the couch talking to Suki is in some way a victim. And every single person sitting on this couch talking to Suki has done wrong to other human beings, whether it be their sister wives, Kody himself, or their kids, really were the ultimate victims in all of this. So yeah, polygamy, at least this version of polygamy, you don't do that to a human being. That should be merch. Like I said a couple minutes ago, Christine would have rather Kody given a broad apology and let that be that. I really disagree. And then I feel like Kody is kind of in a lose-lose situation, because if he came in with a broad apology, I think it's obvious Christine would have been like, well, he just apologized generally. Like, I don't even know what he was apologizing for. And apparently, if he came in and apologized for saying he never loved her, that's also not good enough. So I don't I honestly think that anything he said to Christine probably was going to get a similar reaction. Like she wasn't going to think it was sufficient either way because it's really not sufficient. Number one, he doesn't mean it. And number two, what he should be apologizing for and what he should be looking forward to as a means to build bridges is his relationship with his children. I would have loved at any part of this tell all, and I'm sure that this is an off limits subject, so that's why we're not talking about it, but how none of the apology tours involved discussion of the children. Meri tried to bring it up and she was shut down. That's where, because at the end of the day, your ex-wife is your ex-wife. That relationship is gone. You don't have to like rehash things for the sake of keeping a relationship going with an ex romantic partner. If that relationship produced children, it's all about the kids. It's all about the family you built. And therefore, that's where your focus should be. But so if Christine was sitting in this tell all saying that she would have rather him apologized and said he was going to be working towards making things up with his kids, I would have understood that. But that's not what she said. She just said she just wanted like a broad sweeping apology. All right. So Suki asks if a trip to Moab is in the future, and Christine and David are both like, no way, Jose. And I'm like, dude, you guys need to suck it up and interact with each other, or you're killing your show. You will be killing your show. Robin learns from Suki that Christine was offended by the apology, and she is just shook. And I hate to ever be in a position to defend Kody or Robin, but I do agree that it wasn't weird for Robin to not be there. Kody was married to Christine. They had, as what has been sold to us, Kody had 4 marriages, and Christine and him was one of them. So for him to have this conversation with Christine, and he was married to Christine while he was married to Robin. So Robin has known and been aware and has had to deal with Kody interacting with Christine. And they have 6 kids together. So honestly, I don't think it's problematic for Robin to have not been there. And I do think because Christine has remarried, I do think it was cool for David to be there. Because David is less interwoven into this family than Robin is. So I think it was, and Robin is so polarizing. Like Janelle literally said before her stop on the apology tour, like she told Kody, miss me with that bitch. Like keep her away from me. And 100%, I'm going to call Christine out and say, you wouldn't have wanted Robin there either. So let's keep it all the way real. Okay. So Suki asks Kody if like people can be friends, and regarding friendship in the future, Kody says that he needs to start with being friendly until trust is resurrected. Some of the words Kody uses is just so, it gives me a chuckle. He speaks like he's writing the next great novel or something. So Kody says he chose Janelle to go first because he knew she would be the most receptive, and he slips in that he's made everything right with her regarding Coyote Pass and all property agreements. How so? How so? Meri is having to watch Kody apologize to Janelle for not protecting her and putting her in harm's way. And Janelle's like, "Ugh, shucks, Kody, you didn't know. There was no playbook for plural marriage." And to this, I say, I think in any relationship setup, it's gonna be fucking weird to get romantically involved with your ex-husband's sister's husband. There are so many degrees of separation not happening here. Like, it's odd, and for Janelle and Kody to not recognize and affirm that would be uncomfortable and hurtful and traumatic for Meri is, I think, dishonest, honestly. Additionally, Meri even says in this part of the tell-all that she recognizes that she acted out aggressively. So the way I'm seeing this, and I'm probably gonna come off as a huge like Meri apologist in this live, so be it. The way I'm looking at it is I see Meri taking accountability for the things that she's done. Whether or not that's good enough for the people she did those things to, that's for them to decide. But I do see her recognizing, yeah, I did stuff that was hurtful and harmful and was detrimental to the family. I don't see that from Janelle or Kody here. And I would love to see that, I guess is all I'm saying. Because again, I love Janelle. And it makes me it makes me sad and a bit frustrated. So yeah, it's weird to get romantically involved with your ex-husband's sister's husband. Kody opens up about how he feels like plural marriage cost him his own happiness. And yeah, I think that in this type of plural marriage, there are no winners. Sure, Kody could be the one getting all the attention, the one people are vying for his favor, but we've seen Kody over the years stress the fuck out because he literally can't please everybody. He has too many kids, someone's always getting neglected, whether it be a wife, a kid, whatever. He literally can never do just what he wants. Like, it sucks for everyone involved. Janelle says that she thought Kody's apology was very sweet. I do think that his was the most genuine towards her. Janelle was happy and found it healing that Kody apologized about the early years because they really did struggle. And now we get some different recantations of history from Janelle. So Suki asks how Janelle came into this family. And the first thing Janelle says is that Meri and Kody both pursued her. What? Janelle puts it that she had started embracing the fundamental side of their faith, and Kody and Meri were her friends. Again, that is, I think, very intentionally saying they were friends, family friends, and not that was my ex-sister-in-law or that was my actual sister-in-law, because come to find out, they didn't get divorced until after Kody and Meri were married. And Janelle says that there was always a sparkle. Meri says the early years were a challenge. And when Suki tries to like suss out the details from Meri, she's like, okay, so you and Janelle were friends. And Mary's like, no. We weren't just friends. She was my sister-in-law. And then Meri marries Kody. And then Janelle comes into the family through you? Suki asks. And Meri clarifies, and I like the honesty from Meri. She's like, I wouldn't say through me, but that's how they met each other. If this conversation came up on camera 5 years ago, it never would, because Kody would shut it down. And it was still with the old production team that would have totally capitulated to all of his demands. But say in some scenario it did, and they were all still purporting to be one big happy family, Meri would have come up with 1,000 other reasons for, one, why they had early day struggles. Even now, we're not calling a spade a spade. We're not saying what it is. Y'all didn't have issues because you were living in close quarters and because you were sharing a kitchen and you guys just had different ways you liked to do the dishes. That wasn't it. It was because Janelle was your sister-in-law and now she's sleeping with your husband. That's what it is. Yeah, that Darger guy who married aren't they twins too? Like, not only are they sisters, they're twins. I guess being twins doesn't make it a whole lot more scandalous than sister. I think the sisters part is what makes it the more scandalous part. But yeah, that's odd. That's odd. So then, yeah, Meri marries Kody, and then Janelle came into the family through you, Meri? No, it's because she knew my brother, and that's how she met Kody, because we went to Meri and Kody's wedding. I went with her brother, who I was married to. Janelle and Meri's brother, who, by the way, if everyone doesn't know, Meri's brother, Adam, who was Janelle's ex-husband, passed away, I think, in 2024. So he is no longer with us. I don't know if that's pertinent to the story or not, but he is no longer living. But Janelle, after their divorce, Janelle says she remained close with her ex-husband's family, aka Meri's family. And when it was just the three of them, they lived in a small trailer and there were personality conflicts right away, is what Janelle says. And I said, girl, you were her sister-in-law. And I really want Janelle to take accountability, and maybe like privately in over the last 30 years, maybe they have had those conversations. I don't know. But Meri on camera on the show is saying that she was difficult to live with. So I do appreciate from Meri that part of the accountability, because we read the book. We read how it seemed like Meri went out of her way to make Janelle feel othered in the beginning, that Janelle often was like eating like TV dinners in her room by herself. She had to watch Kody and Meri be like super affectionate. Kody would always take Meri on like work trips and stuff. And there was a lot of like competition, as we learned. And so, yeah, I think that there are things that Meri could say, look back on and say, yeah, that was really not cool of me. And I think she's trying to here. So I appreciate that. So I want to give kudos where I feel like kudos are due. And again, I think that this family, these people fought over, quote, dumb stuff because nobody wanted to hash out the real issues. The real issues being, I don't want to actually share my husband with anybody. That's probably like the base level. I certainly don't want to share my husband with my ex-sister-in-law. And all of this is very complicated emotionally. And Meri is just being told to like eat shit constantly. Um, Kody, being the husband of the year, tells Meri and Janelle, "Don't talk to me about your problems." Like, that's great. That's what you want your husband to tell you. And Kody says he did this because he didn't want to feel like he was being pit against the wives. Kody does acknowledge that he probably should have refereed a little bit more, but he's a terrible referee. And Kody says that Meri fought different. She was scrappier, so she was willing to like get in your face and yell. Janelle's a runner. Our girl's a runner. She will just leave a conversation. She will cease to talk in a conversation that no longer suits her. So you're not going to have really a all out screaming match with Janelle because she will just say, all right, bye. Like, let me see. I'm trying to peep in on the chat, then peep back to my notes. Christine doesn't, because then Suki is asking Christine her input on this. Christine doesn't want to throw the entire lifestyle under the bus, but how could you have emotional intimacy in plural marriage? And she gives the example of, you'll be on a work trip with Kody, but in the back of your mind, that he's got to be thinking, if he's a good person, a good husband, he's got to be thinking about his 3 other wives. So you never have your husband's undivided attention. And that's gotta suck. Robin says she doesn't care if other wives think Kody is capable of emotional intimacy because she knows she is, and he is not married to them anymore. Suki, Kody talks about some of his wives being high maintenance, and Suki wants to know who was high maintenance, and Kody says, well, Janelle wasn't. Well, at the time, he was only married to Meri and Janelle. So that we know who he was talking about then. Meri was high maintenance, but she also did everything the way Kody wanted her to. Like, he liked the way she cleaned. He liked the way she like decorated and stuff like that. Like, he says that. And so it's funny to me, like, okay, she's high maintenance, but you liked the way she maintained you. So Kody says if he were to go back and analyze, he says he loved Janelle, but Meri was more emotionally open. And Suki goes, I don't understand that. Can you explain? Meri admits that she had a lot of emotions based on the way Janelle came into the family. And Kody and Janelle failed to realize that possibly some of Meri's issues stemmed from the fact that they wanted to get married on Meri's birthday. You guys, I made a video about this a couple days ago, and I got numerous comments telling me 2 things. One, well, they didn't get married on Meri's birthday. So, like, what's the problem type of thing. And then 2, that the AUB only does weddings like a certain time, like 1 time a month or something like that. So it might have been the only time that month that they could have gotten married. Well, they still got married in January. I believe they got married on Kody's birthday, which is the day after Meri's. So that's like off by 1 day. They were planning on getting married on Meri's birthday, and neither one, and I am positive that it came up, like, that's adding another layer of complication to like Meri's plate of emotions to deal with. Neither one of them sat back and said, maybe we shouldn't do that, until Kody's mom stepped in and was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, seriously? Um, so for me, I'm glad they didn't get married on Meri's birthday. But their intention was to do that to her, and it wasn't like you can get married in January of 1993 or in 2 years. It's like, okay, if you do them once a month, get married in February or whatever, you know? So, like, when the day the weddings are being held falls on your first wife's birthday, I think it's okay to be like, "Mm, maybe we'll push this for another day." Uh, yeah, like, Cody and Janelle not coming out smelling like roses with this recantation of history. And Meri tells Suki there might have been some emotions involved with the fact that she used to be married to my brother. Meri is still, even though she's revealing all of this information, she's still like highly protective of Cody and Janelle. Like, she's not disparaging them. She is saying, I had a hard time with it, not they were cruel for doing that. She was saying I was uncomfortable. I had lots of like I statements. So she's speaking from her perspective and not really insinuating intention into Cody and Janelle. So I think that was nice of her and diplomatic of her to do. Then we get to Janelle's second tale of how she came into the family. So first she says that Cody and Meri pursued her, and then she, in the same tell-all, she tells Suki, actually, I asked to be in the family. They never asked me. So which is it? And I know, and this was about when I'm taking notes. This is about where I noticed that literally Meri is the only one actually talking about uh like the reason why the early days were hard is because Janelle is her ex-sister-in-law, and that just like was a totally fucked up situation to deal with. Cody and Janelle are just talking about personality conflicts and that the early days were hard. See, Cody's coming in talking with broad general statements and it's not really feeling sufficient. That's how we would feel if Cody came in and apologized to Christine with just like broad general statements. Suki asks Meri, well, did you tell Cody, hey, please don't marry my sister-in-law? And Meri says she did. But then she says she was not supposed to have those thoughts. And I'm like, wow. Wow. Like, Meri was told your feelings are invalid. And then we get this conversation, and Christine has some thoughts on it too about enduring till the end and that whole like mantra in their religion and how like fucked up that thought process is. And then we're going to start talking about David and his experience with polygamy. And does David have a right to chime in on his opinion about polygamy? I think so. Again, I think where some people are choosing to like split hairs is kind of odd. Like, I think Cody or Christine getting upset about Cody's apology, like the specificity of Cody's apology, kind of odd to me. I think Cody thinking that David can't have an opinion on polygamy is also odd. Cody can tell like me I can't have an opinion on polygamy because I literally don't know any Mormon fundamental polygamists in real life. Just what I see on TV is what I'm going off of. So he could say that to me and say, "Oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about," because I don't, not personally. But David does. Like, he has family members, he has sisters, and literally, like, David does not know one success story, and I think that that's valid to talk about. Hold on 1 second. And I think that David correctly pointed out, like, "Hey, I've been around polygamy longer than Kody's been living polygamy." And so Kody lived polygamy for what, 30 years-ish? David's been around it since he was 3, and he's in his 60s. And Kody's certainly not living polygamy now. So does Kody still get to have an opinion about polygamy? Are you only allowed to have an opinion about polygamy if you are actively sleeping with multiple partners? And Pink Butterfly, thank you. I had this same thought. Saying David has no right to speak on it is like saying that the kids have no right to speak on it. And believe me, these kids have an opinion. They might not all be voicing them publicly, but they certainly do have opinions. Hold on. Lost my window. So we then go to talking about egos. Suki wants to know if, the women think that if Kody has an ego, David thinks all men have egos, and polygamous men certainly have egos. And David talks about how he had friends, which I don't think I'd want you to be friends with these people if I was Christine. But how they were like, yeah, man, like, these women compete over me and we like try to see how far we can push them and stuff like that. And maybe reevaluate who your friends are, David, was my thought when he was telling this story. And David does ask a good question. He's like, as an outsider who's really close to polygamy, if this is supposed to be the righteous thing, like the higher calling, why is everyone so miserable? Why does everyone have to endure till the end? Should somebody, and we know that somebody becomes Robin, should somebody be straight up having a good time? And Janelle chimes in, and you guys, let me know. It kind of seems like there's been a cooling in the friendship between Christine and Janelle. I don't think there's any bad blood or anything, but I don't think that they're Laverne and Shirley, like, a couple years ago before Christine got married and after they had both left Kody. They were doing promo together. They were doing everything together. They were doing MLM trips together. And I think a certain amount of that is that life is taking them in different directions. They also have different interests. Like Janelle is focused on the farm, getting that up and running. They live in different states. I think there's a lot of things at play here. But I wonder, because I kind of get the feeling that Janelle's not a super big fan of David. So I wonder if that has anything to do with why maybe there's a cooling off on this friendship. Oh, and this is true. Janelle was at Christine's, but like I don't think that there's animosity or bad feelings. I just think that maybe they're not as close as they used to be. But you guys let me know in the chat what you think. What vibes did you get? Because and this is why that thought occurred to me. Janelle answers David back by saying she thinks it's wrong to paint everyone with a broad brush. Like, and she points out, and this is the same rhetoric that the Browns went with for the first like 5 seasons of the show. Like, we're no different than monogamists. Like, monogamists will abuse you, monogamists will like do all these messed up things. So we're not doing any of that. We're just living peacefully as ourselves. So Janelle is coming in with that same line of propaganda saying like messed up stuff happens in all kinds of relationships. And it's like, yeah, but can we all agree that the setup of polygamy makes it way harder than it needs to be? Not saying that you'll find success or happiness in a monogamous marriage just because you're monogamous, but I can almost guarantee you that you will not have smooth sailing in a polygamous relationship because it's polygamous. Right? Kody is making it clear David is an outsider looking into polygamy, and Kody was living it. So Kody is saying we are not the same, even though there are degrees of outsiders when you're not living polygamy. You can be in a polygamous family, just not living polygamy, like Robin's ex-husband, like Chris or Meri's brother was living having a monogamous marriage with Janelle and not living polygamy. Those people, I guarantee you, know a fuck ton about polygamy, even though they're not choosing to live polygamy. But Kody is really trying to like parse that and say that because you don't actively do it, you don't get to have an opinion about it. And then I would just like a moment of justice for myself because the amount of comments I get, I would love your video so much more if you didn't curse. I know. My mom tells me anytime she watches one of my videos, I didn't raise you like that, Sarah. So believe me, I know that my mouth is a problem. The amount of time in the short period of time that Kody got out jack shit, it was astonishing even to me. I was like, my God, man, cool it a little bit, right? Suki's just sitting there like, what is happening? But essentially, David thinks he knows shit, but he doesn't know jack shit. Jack shit, jack shit, jack shit, jack shit, jack shit. Beep, 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 beep. That's when David says he's been around it longer than Kody was in it. And I was like, that's a good comeback. Point for David, in my opinion. And Meri says Kody definitely has a big ego. Janelle says he definitely has a big ego. Both of them say, like, yeah, he has a big ego. Yeah, it's a problem. But yeah, we still like being around him. So it's like, all right. Janelle says ultimately it's not her problem anymore. Meri does recognize, and again, I gotta give kudos to Meri for like answering what I perceive as kind of honestly and authentically. Meri says she's seen competition in their family and she's seen it in other families, but she doesn't agree that that's something you can put a blank statement on. That, like, I don't know, it happens in all families, or just because it happens, that means your family is like destined for failure or something like that. Humans be humaning is what I took away from what Meri was saying there. And then, like, this took a turn to the really sad, and again, why I want to recognize what I feel like Meri has never been validated on. Yes, like, everyone knew in the family that Meri struggled with fertility. And Meri wished she could have more kids. I'm sure Kody wished Meri could have more kids. I don't know if the other women wished Meri could have more kids, but such is life. Meri talks about how hard it was, not just as a woman struggling with fertility issues, to see other women having kids, but that it was her husband having kids with other women. They don't feel like Meri's emotions in that regard were validated. And then Robin's dumbass comes and chimes in like, ugh, yeah. We always had to go tell Meri first when we were pregnant. And it's like, you know what, new girl, you came in past the point that Meri was probably even considering still having kids, like realistically. And you had 2 kids. You weren't there when Janelle and Christine were playing like pregnancy ping pong, like one's pregnant, then one's pregnant, then one's pregnant, then one's pregnant. And it's like you're getting whiplash from it if you're Meri. So again, I'm feeling like a Meri justice warrior. And I usually am pretty critical of Meri. So it's a strange place to be. I swear to God, I don't think it will, but part 4 of this tell better not make me feel sorry for Robin of all people. I will have a huge problem with that. Oh, and then so we kind of wrap up with Meri's stop on the apology tour, and Christine was like living for watching this back. I loved watching her watching this back. And I'll never get over to Kody literally sitting there being like, Meri, can you shut the fuck up so I can apologize to you? Meri's like, I would love to have a conversation. And Kody literally tells her they can't talk because they trigger each other. Kody forgives Meri for the dark time, aka the catfish of it all, which I hope is what is set to take center stage in part 4 of the tell all. That's what's been teased. I hope it's not like part 3 where like the teaser was the juiciest part of the episode, but you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. Part 2 of this tell all was chef's kiss. It was more than I could ask for. So I'll be happy with what I get. Meri says she's not going to be walked all over emotionally anymore, and she thinks Kody just doesn't know what to do with that. But I do believe Kody that Meri's not afraid to fight and say what she feels. So it's kind of like, well, I fully believe Meri says what's on her mind, but I don't know. I guess I don't really know what she means by she's not going to be walked all over emotionally. I guess the last couple years, she really did eat a lot more shit. And maybe she means she's not going to be doing like that, like hoping Kody will recognize that he still wants to be married to her. But I don't think Meri ever had a problem saying what she like was and wasn't down with. And because when she says she wasn't down with something, Kody would be like, well, fuck you, I'm doing it anyways. So like marrying Janelle. Suki asks Christine like if she wished like she reacted the way Meri reacted to Kody, and Christine says she doesn't think she'd ever talk to Kody that way because it wouldn't make a difference. So why bother? Because it's satisfying, Christine. Because it's satisfying. Oh, Meri mentioned her conversation with Kody continued for 2 hours after the film crew left. Well, that's something. I also like we have heard so many times. I specifically remembered the time Kody is going to each wife's house talking about it was when polygamy got decriminalized in Utah and Christine is pushing to move back to Utah. So he goes by himself to each wife's house to have a conversation with them. And Meri is like shocked that he like knows where she lives essentially, and and she's like, "Oh yeah, the other day we had a conversation for like an hour or something." And I'm like, "What was that like?" It was very interesting. I enjoyed Christine's take. She doesn't like Meri, but she's with her when she's right. Yeah. And I think that's kind of how I'm feeling. Like I don't think Meri's done anything worth me cheering her on about. I don't know. I'm especially these days, I'm trying to not detach people from their humanity. So recognizing that we're all in this together, this thing called life, and you know, no one person is better that or worth more than another. No one's life is worth more than another person's life. Um and with that, it's like I want to recognize even the Browns, even Robin and Kody. They're still human beings, you know. I wouldn't be friends with them. I don't think that they do good. They don't add value, but they're they are still human beings. Uh Not only is that Disney, that is High School Musical, which turned 20 this year. And I am not okay with movies that came out when I was already an adult. So I was a freshman in college when High School Musical came out, turning 20. Rude, rude. All right, you guys. Everybody stay safe. Leave your faucets running if they are at risk of freezing. That like literally makes my skin crawl. You guys have no idea. Um I guess if you have OCD, you probably can appreciate why that would be bothersome. But stay safe. I hope everyone retains power. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.